So there's a bunch of people who jumped on this Matt Rife story. He's a stand-up comedian who got famous from TikToks. His whole thing is supposed to be his looks and his crowd work clips where he interacts with his predominantly woman audience. His special came out on Netflix recently and it caused some controversy because of an offensive joke, quote unquote, about domestic violence.
Like they should put her in the kitchen or something where nobody has to see her face, you know? And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye.
This is as edgy as it gets, that and the way that he did this little response back to people who were offended, which was this link to a site that sells special needs helmets so he could be cancelled. But that's the thing, Matt Rife actually wants this. He wants to lean into this cancelled shit because it validates him as a comedian, because all the comedians these days have been cancelled, and that's what he wants to be. He wants to be like all of his heroes, even though that word means nothing these days. You know, out here in the real world, that means fuck all. It's a way of sounding dangerous and edgy without actually having to do any work. Like, why actually work on being funny and writing jokes? Who would do that when you could just be cancelled? This just seems like a way for comedians these days to put them in a category with the great comedians that actually pushed boundaries and actually had their speech taken away. They want to be just like them, so they have to fake all this shit. Comedians realized a long time ago that people who get mad at these jokes are a very small minority, and now with the internet they can make it seem like it's everyone and they're actually being attacked while they're fighting the good fight, when most of this shit is just dick jokes. That's how they choose to use their free speech, which is fine, but let's not act like they're saving the world or some shit. I see the right-wing people jumping on this because anything that goes against women, they'll jump on, but do they really even want this pussy on their side? Matt Rife is the most inoffensive, talentless hack there is. He looks like one of these Disney kids that would get along with Jake Paul. He's from that ilk. But they have to defend him because he said something that they kind of agree with. And on the other side of this, you have some of his fans getting mad at the joke, including this guy.
3 minutes of the Matt Rife comedy special on Netflix and turned it off because, like, dude, bro, you betrayed your audience immediately. You told an unfunny joke about domestic violence against women and also included in there, like, some misogyny about them in the kitchen, cooking, and pleasing their man, pleasing their husband.
Now, this is actually a hot take, but he kind of did betray his audience in a way, not necessarily with the joke that he made, but in the way that he's pushing away his audience is a betrayal of who he is and how he presented himself to his audience. It's fine to change the style of comedy that you do, but he's trying to actively push a chunk of his audience away and make them hate him. In order to facilitate that transition, I don't think anything he said was really that big of a deal, but he does. To him, this is the kind of edge that the greats have. He wants to be taken seriously as a comedian, but got famous for being a hack TikTok influencer, whose entire audience is pretty much women who don't watch comedy, whether it's young girls that Chris D'Elia wants to touch, or middle-aged soccer mums that look like Christina P. That's his audience. But now he gets to do this podcast run or whatever, boosting up his special, saying that it's hard out here for a comedian, trying to fit in with the big boys like Joe Rogan, when he got exactly what he wanted. His looks and TikTok made him famous and it got him a Netflix special. Now he sees this as an opportunity because he's big enough now to transition and be seen as an actual comedian. And so he's attempting to do that now. He leaned into this cringy shit that his audience likes, and that's not their fault. He wanted to go viral doing cringy shit, so he did exactly what they wanted to see. That's who he is. He doesn't have the personality that connects with the average guys because, unlike actual comedians, he isn't relatable. So anyone supporting this is falling for it. He doesn't care. He's not being attacked, but he gets to act like he is, which is going to help validate him more as a serious comedian. So all of these freedom of speech warriors are getting taken advantage of by a guy they would normally hate. That's what's funny about this whole situation.